Good morning, friends. Hope everybody out there is having a nice, easy Saturday morning. Morning, Kel. Good morning, Marlin. Oh, I'm still only about halfway through my first mug of coffee here. So it's gonna be a nice, slow, easy morning for me. We're back at it again with these here salt intercessors. They need just some finishing touches. So to start, we're gonna hit them with a bit of German gray in the armor webbing. A little bit more detail there. But I don't want it to be a complete what am I trying to say here? A completely opaque gray. I want a little bit of the underneath to show through because pure dark substances are uncommon in real life and just don't really show well in miniature form. We're just going to cut it about in half, or less, with some matte medium. What this will do is it'll increase the transparency of paint while not altering the thickness at all, which makes it easier to get thick coats with thin color. It's typically the opposite of what you want to do, but in this case, it's what we need. You see there on my palette, the coverage has been drastically reduced, which is actually what we want because we want to be able to apply this very lightly. How's everybody out there doing today? Yeah, metallics are always funky to play with, but I like the effect they give. Even if it makes them... Metallics never show up in pictures correctly. There's just no good way of taking a picture of them. They look great on the tabletop. Yep, Nier Automata soundtrack. I was in the mood for some gentle vocals that would eventually become some heart-pounding battle music. But I don't know how well you can see that with the light. The webbing, because I'm using transparent colors, you can still see the definition on the webbing without it becoming a completely black mess, which is exactly what we're going for. This guy's pose is a little awkward for finding the webbing. Try. Even if it's just little tiny details, the little details that put it all together. Appreciate that, Killed. Y'all are always so much nicer to my paint jobs than I am. That eternal crafter's curse of, well, I see all the flaws. I could have done better. Why didn't I do better? But hey, day that I finally accept that I did well is going to be a great day for me. You do that, bud. Self-care is important, you know. Not like we say that all the time or anything. Speaking of which, how's your hardship font sketch coming along there, Marlon? Made any progress on that? Oh, where did I put? There we are. That's fine. Take your time on it. Excited to see where it goes. Art is a marathon, not a race. There we go. Glad when I can clean it up a mistake immediately instead of having to go back over it later. These little bits of webbing in the hardest to reach spaces. I'd even swap to a smaller brush size for this. The autocorrect devil getting to you there, Merlin? One thing I love about Nier is the way it was marketed. Of course, it got all the fighting game and anime waifu guys all excited, like, oh yeah, waifu maid outfit, um, combat android fights, I'm all in. And then they were like, haha, surprise, depression, enjoy these feels. Ah, knew I was missing some bits. Thighs can't go unpainted, you know. And then, of course, my insistence of painting things underneath the model, even though literally no one will ever see them on the tabletop. So it goes. That's good for him. Let's see what challenges this pose brings. Exactly, killed. Doing it because I like to do it. God, am I a masochist. That was a quick food run there, killed. Hopefully you're eating something a little more substantive than a Pop-Tart over there. Maybe I should paint the soles of these guys' boots black too. Okay, just checking. Gotta take care of yourself, bud. Even wolves need proper nutrition. Ooh, nice. I just did up some rice and sausage for my breakfast today, which really was just let me clear out what I have in the freezer before I go shopping tonight. Yeah, got a little bit too much junk hanging around. I think this shopping trip I'm gonna have to make a point to only fill up on veggies and chicken. Yeah, I really feel like these boots need some black in them. Let's brush load it up. Even if it's just the sole, like that'd be better than metallic. Who wants to march on metal soles? I mean, unless you're stepping on Necrons. Yeah, new year, new me, all that good stuff. But also, I've just been, well, you know, anxiety and depression tend to make for bad diet choices. So I really need to get back onto the healthy stuff. Force myself to be good. Really need to start weightlifting again too. Haven't picked up the bells since that minor surgery I had. All it takes is breaking a habit for like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to just completely ruin it for you. Yeah, you're not kidding there, Keld. No wonder, in my mind, why America is so unhealthy anymore. Because we have not had a good mental health for the past 3 decades, it seems. Just like overall, for everybody. I want to go back and dry brush a little bit of like brown over these soles. Like some light tan to bring this tread back out. I do like the effect this black is having on them. Really should have gotten the wet palette prepped though. I can already tell my paint's getting really dry here. Sounds like Miller's getting ready to bark out at the front door. Wonderful. Now he's just such a guard dog, protecting me from the mailman and neighbors. I have to go back to this guy real quick and do up his souls too. Anybody have some big fun plans for the weekend? I think for me it's gonna be dinner with the grandparents like normal, then working on repairing my resin printer. Company got me the replacement parts they think I need a couple days ago. So hopefully with the new LCD screen in there it'll work again, but we'll see. We will see. I still need to finish up that baby blanket I've been working on. Told my family friend there that I'd have it done by the end of the second week of January, so gotta dedicate a little bit more time to that. But I think I can get it done in time. Only, I think, 12 rows off of it. 8. Somewhere between 8 and 12. So it's only a few more hours, plus the trim. Like I'm not getting enough light today. Adjust some of my setup. Is that better? A little better for me. Nothing much, Kel. Just working on painting up some crotches right now. Old crotch webbing. Talking about what I'm going to be doing this weekend. You got any big plans yourself, Killed? Traveling's fun. Nice to get out and about. I sort of miss traveling for business. Nice going out and about in the US for stuff on my company's dime. Of course, it's kind of hard to travel now, what with Miller. Dog sitters don't come cheap, you know. Swap brushes. This one seems to be having a little bit of trouble forming a point right now. Swap to this liner brush. It's gonna rehydrate this paint a little. Oh yeah, this paint is exceptionally dry right now. There we go, that's better. Definitely should have been using the wet palette, but I was feeling lazy this morning. Alright. Let's work with that. That's better. Get to hydrate, everyone. Even if that means lukewarm coffee. This line is not making it easier to do these small sections. Have to swap to a different brush again. Let's see, what do I have nearby? That ought to do, hopefully. Love it when I make my work significantly harder and longer because I decide I want something different. What I originally set out for. Good old personal scope creep. Not wrong. Ironically enough, music right now doesn't make me want to play Nier. Makes me want to play a Dark Souls game. It's got me in that epic boss battle kind of mood. You know, I still have not played any of the mainline Souls games. I've only played Elden Ring and some Souls likes. Mostly because, despite the fact that they still have their online functionality turned off, they have not gone on sale since Elden Ring came out. And I don't really feel like paying $60 for a 10-year-old game. Just a matter of principle on that one, really. I mean, I can afford it, I just don't want to. Oh yeah, I miss old Talking Sim. Story's cool and all, but Talking Sim had a different energy to it when Alex was around. He brought a lot more energy to the room. And I liked having that contrast between Cam quietly thinking, that perspective he brought, and Alex's excitement and strong takes. I still rewatch their Nier Automata playthrough from time to time because it's just one of the perfect examples of their dynamic. And also, it was a really good playthrough. Yeah. Why am I making this hard on myself? I can take this right off. Okay, Emil. You're cute and all, but your song is... Oof. Uh, I don't think these guys are parade ready. Plus, like I said, getting a good picture of them is a struggle since I only have my god-awful camera phone app. And they're metallics. I really hate what they've done to the Google or the default Android camera app. They've basically stripped away all of the options like focal length, focus adjustment, white balance setting, everything. All you can control anymore is contrast and brightness. Not even exposure, just manual brightness. It's god awful. There's no real good alternative what I've seen. Yeah. The autofocus, I think, is the thing that drives me the most insane, especially when it comes to these models, because it picks up on the worst thing to focus on. It usually ends up pulling out all of the individual like grains of paint, so it looks so much grainier and erratic than it does to the human eye. I don't know what it's doing to process it like that, but it just makes everything look awful in the macro. Uh, Mostly because it's um it's currently in a rig, so to get the right angle for a good photo would require me to take it off the rig, and I'm kind of lazy in that respect. I really don't want to um, mess with it. gonna do this guy's black sections, and then after that we will take our break. A bit later than normal, but c'est la vie. And one of the sad aspects of the modern year is that because camera phones have become so prevalent, the market for quality budget point and shoot cameras has all but evaporated. So now your options, if you want a camera, are your camera phone, a piece of crap point and shoot from China for like $50, or $500 for a budget DSLR, and basically no in between. And again, while I could afford a DSLR, to spend $500 just to get. Oh, so Miller Sparks do come across on my headset. I might have to step away for a second to get them. Be right back. Sorry about that. But yeah, like I was saying, while I could afford to pick up a DSLR, buying a DSLR just to take pictures of my miniatures that I paint for Discord and Instagram seems like a bit of superfluous spending. I might end up getting like one of those cheap point and shoots from China just to see. But who knows? Who knows? Again, I'm making this way too hard on myself when I can just take it off the stand. No, Keld, I'm not going to be the one barking for you. You're going to be barking for me. course, this sergeant has so much junk in the way. His helmet and such being on his belt. A bit more of a pain to get to his webbing. Get there. Gotta do it slowly and gently. How's my podcaster voice today, Keld? Is it soothing? Maybe I should do some nighttime streams for you so that I can help put you to sleep. With soft, dulcet tones. And just paint a little bit more than the last drop. I have to do a little bit of doubling up here. That's fine. That's good. Double check everywhere. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, you say it's like, you say that like it'd be such a bad thing. Of crotch area that could use it here. Right. We are good with the black. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first break of the stream. Everybody get up, stretch your legs, swap your fluids, take your meds if you haven't. We'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, and we are back. Oh, yeah, I would love to be able to swap my legs out too. That would be so nice. While I was gone, I decided to make another mug of coffee. Hopefully that'll cool down soon enough for me to actually be able to drink some. And now we're gonna pour out some, what is this, Beastie Brown? Beastie Boys Brown. And, of course, a bit of our Flow Aid and medium thinner. I think the size 0 I've been using should still work pretty well. It's going to be extremely thin brown. We're going to be doing a lot of layers with it. And I also want to apply them pretty thin that they dry quickly. But this should be a great brown for doing up all of the little satchels and holsters that these guys have. This might be a grenade, but I don't care, it is now a satchel. Because I said so. Sorry, Merlin. If you want new muscles, you need new muscle memory. In fact, we're going to specifically give you like half-inch longer arms and legs, just so that even the muscle memory built into your brain is no longer applicable, and you actually have to relearn how to walk and such. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. Oh, I know exactly how that feels. Just gonna move these brushes out of the way. There we go, that's much better. But I wouldn't give for a new spine. And new knees. Maybe new wrists. You know what, just chop off most of my body and give me a robot body. That's fine. I just need my head. The head's the most important part. Everything else is superfluous. Who's that one character from Metal Gear Solid that is basically all cyborg except for his face? Raiden, something like that. Give me that treatment. Hopefully this isn't too personal a question, but do you have like a chronic fatigue or tachycardia syndrome there, Merlin? Okay, I was about to say that sounds very familiar. I was reading up on it one of these days after seeing an Instagram reel. Basically, it's like called POTS or something, where if you stand up, your heart just basically goes crazy, and dizziness, swelling, all that good stuff is symptomatic of it. Does not sound fun. I do not envy you for that. Sounds like an absolute pain. Well, nonetheless, we're still glad you're comfortable around us there, Merlin. A bucket seat. Look into that. Might actually be better for me. I've got the bisexual problem of sitting weird. When I was a kid, and even still today, sometimes I would sit in my desk chair with it backwards, and I'd be sitting on my knees so that my torso was slumping over the backrest, and my hands were over top of it, going into the keyboard. Uh, should have known early on that I was not straight just from that. I've locked Miller in the room with me so that he won't bark out the front door, and he is letting me know right now he is not happy about that. Oh, he'll get scritches in a minute. gonna lay down a base layer of brown for these parchment parts of the purity seals, that we can then go over them later with some like flesh tone or something to brighten them up a bit. Let's see, how many purity seals does this guy have? Just the one? That's fine. He doesn't need to be that pure anyways. Does this guy have any purity seals? Not a single one. Oh my. You know what? He must be a heresy, Horus heresy model. So the purity seals, in case anyone watching isn't familiar, are these little wax seals with parchment attached to them. And what they are is they are basically commendations from the ecclesiarchy and chaplains to be like, you know, this is proof that you are not corrupted by chaos, that you are a pure and loyal Astartes. And it's thought that they're also, you know, blessed with the power of the God Emperor to ensure further protection from chaos. So obviously, the more purity seals you have, the more pure you are, and the less likely you will to succumb. And this only came about in the years after the Horus Heresy, because holy shit, would the God Emperor, or as he was back then, the Emperor of Mankind, hate the concept of purity seals. Because the Emperor did not want to be worshipped as a god. He, in fact, banned religion throughout the Imperium. And the heresy was in part started because one of his children really, really wanted to pray to him like a god. And he was told very harshly no. It's a whole thing, but it's just kind of funny. Funny to think about how heavily the Imperium has degraded between 30,000 AD and 40,000. So one of the reasons I'm painting up these characters this way is flexibility reasons. The color scheme of Iron Hands is silver and black. But their successor chapters can be anything that you want them to be. The Chaos faction of Space Marines, the Iron Warriors, are like a darker silver, kind of like an iron, and yellow. So, kind of think like hazard stripes or over construction equipment sort of deal. So the gold, does well enough for that. And one of the main reasons I like the Iron Warriors, besides their aesthetic, is their Primarch Perturabo, or as the fan base likes to call him, Peter Turbo. He, not gonna lie, he's a petulant man-child, but he is kind of hilarious in that, where you had like Lorgar of the Word Bears who wanted to worship um, the Emperor and then later the ruinous powers as gods. Peter Turbo here thinks gods are cringe. He is very much the facts and logic asshole the uh, of the 40k world, like militant atheist, redditor. Uh, if he can't get his way, he goes into a tantrum. But at the same time, he's actually probably one of the most competent people in the universe, sort of deal. So it's just kind of 40k is full of people that you should not idolize. Nobody in there in the entire setting is a good person. They can do good things, but they are overall all awful people. But it's fun to see the distinction between Peter Turbo and the other Primarchs in that, yeah, you're not wrong, but you're an asshole. You get the job done, but we do not like dealing with you, is basically how every other Primarch felt about Peter Turbo. Huh. Gay Boy is evidently an, a disallowed term. Like it specifically is highlighted Gay Boy in red. I don't know how to remove that from Automod. I'll have to figure it out later. Oh, hey, G-God. Good morning to you, too. Right now, we are just finishing up detailing on these assault intercessors, and by finishing up, I mean spending an entire stream just working on webbing and bolsters, because details are a pain. then even after I'm done with these, they're probably going to need a wash to bring the details back out. And then another highlight. Because my work is never over. Oh, good. And now my headphones are telling me that I haven't plugged them in a while, and I'm going to have to do that in a second. So as soon as I am done slapping some brown onto this holster here, do that. I think that's one of the, yeah, just another tangent here. My least favorite aspects of modern electronics design, especially when it comes to consumer audio, is the last like 20% of the battery on a set of headphones is useless because it just constantly beeps at you for that entire time. You only have 20% left. Okay, well, I guess I have to plug it in right away because you will not stop telling me that I only have 20% left. This has been another edition of Yelk Talks About Minor Inconveniences. Alright, excuse me one sec as I plug these in. I've got a cord that extends. And these are fancy headphones that let me use them even while they're charging. And we are good to keep going. Always important to keep a brush at hand that you can wipe away mistakes when you make them. Because they happen. The sooner you can fix them, the better. So if you make a mistake, it's too late to fix it. Just wait until the end to fix it. No point in fixing it while you're still working on it. Because then you might make another mistake and then have to go back and fix it, and then you make another mistake. Just do all the painting you have to then, and then go back later to fix that mistake at the very end. Just makes it so much easier. This guy's purity seal is on his gun. Nothing pure like armor-piercing explosive rounds. Oh, I know, Miller. You hate being in here when you could be out barking at the mailman. Good enough. Come here, Miller. Excuse me while I pet my oh so suffering dog because he hasn't gotten head pats in a few minutes. You know, he's just so neglected. I think I'm gonna take him for a walk right after stream. He hasn't had a good walk in a while, and I needed to. Just been so miserable outside lately, what with the rain and the snow. Ugh. For the low cost of living and the family, abundance of natural resources, probably move out of the state. But a lot of things keeping me anchored here. It's not the worst state to live in, really. Big shout out to all the lurkers in the stream right now. Feel free to keep lurking, but I just want you all to know I appreciate that you're here anyways. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday morning, or afternoon if you're over in the other time zones there. Still needs his base coat. I think I'm gonna go back and give all of these a second coat real quick to really make sure that coverage is there. Even it out a bit. Definitely. Whenever you're painting with browns, yellows, and oranges, if the first layer doesn't look great, then you paint a little bit more. And after the first layer has dried, add another one or two, maybe even three. They all look so much better after 2 or 3 coats, because they just do not have the coverage that other stronger pigments like your blacks or your pure whites or blues do. Unless you're using cadmium yellows, but if you're using cadmium yellows, be super careful you don't give yourself heavy metal poisoning. And definitely varnish all of your minis heavily if you're using cadmium, because little bits of dust can flick off of your mini as you're using them. So even if the paint's dry, it can still give you heavy metal poisoning. So really, the simple answer is don't use cadmium paint. Instead, lots of layers, or start with a base of white mixed with the color you want to paint, and more or less equal ratio will usually do good for your first layer, because the white is opaque and strong, and that gives you something good to work off of and then blend your real color into it with layers. And if you happen to have the luxury of being able to work with an airbrush, never be afraid to base coat in a color other than white and black. Now do whatever initial priming you want, But if you're going to be doing a light color, say yellow, for the main body, make sure that your prime skews heavier towards the white section of it, and then give it an all-over spray with the light color you want to use for the majority, and then just detail in darker colors instead of trying to start with putting yellow on black. Aw, gotta love puppy time. All my homies love puppy time. Puppies definitely take patience, just like any other child. But it is rewarding to watch them grow up. Alright, well I'm going to take a quick break while I wait for this layer of brown on this final intercessor to dry, that I can then apply the second layer. So everybody get up, stretch, swap your fluids. I'm gonna enjoy this coffee that's probably lukewarm by now. We'll all be back in a few minutes. Alright, we are back. Just a quick break. We're going to finish up Intercessors pouches here. And I gave my pup some butt scritches, so now his hair is everywhere, of course, because he is a shepherd. Shepherds cannot go a day without shedding half their body weight in hair. So it goes. And now he is acting so sad that I have stopped petting him. Because he is just a needy little baby boy. Something else to note about laying down layers like this. Sometimes the first coat, even if you have a very good covering paint color, like a blue or a purple, that the first coat won't always be super even, just because of the surface adherence of the layer below it. If you're working directly on matte primer, that's going to have the best teeth. But if, say, you just did a wash on your base coat, or you're using a metallic like this, it's super glossy. And oh, Miller, hush hush. What basically makes the difference between matte and gloss is the surface of the paint. Matte paints have a lot of pigments and other materials poking through the surface. Normally you'd have like a flat surface of paint, but you've got little bits sticking out that diffract the light so it doesn't bounce properly. It scatters. When you have a gloss surface, you don't have those bits. Everything is smooth, so a ray of light hits it and bounces off nice and easily and evenly, and all in the same direction. So when you have a matte surface, you have a lot of little crooks and what's that term again? Crooks and valleys, crooks and whatever. Brain's not working right now. You get what I mean. You've got nucleation sites for the paint to stick to. When you're working on gloss, you don't have that, so the paint just kind of slides around on top of a smooth surface. So if you're laying down paint on a smooth surface, the first layer is going to be rough. But then, when you've got the first layer of paint onto it, you've created, these little splotchy zones, which you can then, fill in with the second layer of paint and smooth it out again, and even out your paint job. Now I'm gonna be driven crazy if I don't. Is it really crooks and nannies? is that idiom? Yeah, that is exactly what that idiom is. Crooks and nannies. Weird. Anyways, missed one side of this. Got too busy discussing technique to remember to actually do my painting. Alright. Ah, purity seal. Knew I was missing something. Getting a nice thin brush load for this one, because we don't actually want it to be solid layer. Want it to be a base for the beige. And double check that there aren't any more purity seals about. And then go back through and double check everywhere else. Didn't miss anything on the other models before we let brown paint dry up. Just add a bit more. This guy looks good. This guy I don't think has anything, no matter how many times I look at it over and over again. Wipe these bags with just a little bit more, even it out. There we go. That's good. Your purity seal. There it is. This is why we double check everyone, because we miss things. Groovy. And now we have two different things we can do after this. There is, well, actually three at this point. So where is he? Ah, here he is. Our sergeant is equipped with a plasma pistol, which means that this vent port here has to glow some fluorescent color, either blue or green, depending on my flavor. Then all of the helmets of these guys are going to need eyes painted in. I've still yet to decide what color I want to do for their eyes. And then, what was the last thing? Oh yes, the purity seals, the wax needs to be colored. And their parchment needs their parchmenting. So what do I want to do? I think... Ah, yes, Miller. Yes, Miller. Ooh, I love me taro bubble milk tea. I actually just went out a few days ago to meet up with a friend who I haven't seen in months and got me an extra large, low sugar, double boba taro tea, because that is my go-to. At least when they don't have avocado smoothie boba. Oh geez, Miller, your hair is just everywhere right now. So we've got ourselves some flat red. This makes great purity seal color. thin it down. Pretty heavily. What we're going to do is we're going to swap to my smallest detail brush, 3-0, or triple aught. Miller, can I help you right now? He is right under the desk next to my feet right now because, oh, the poor baby just is starved for attention, I guess. So we don't need the detail brush for the purity seals, even though I'm going to do them right now. But what we do need it for are the eyes, because they are just such tiny targets. So the important thing doing details is, with all things detail oriented, step 1, make sure that you can form a good point with your brush. Got any stray bristles, it's going to make it harder to apply the paint properly. And if you can't get the bristle to form into the point, it's better to just isolate it and pluck it out or cut it out than to try and get it to work for you. Of course, we're talking about fine bristles like this, that can also be its own challenge. Where did my scissors go? I'll just use this nail trimmer. There we go. So that should now form a good point. Much better. Then, very carefully, very steadily, enter the eye, just a shallow movement. Brush through it to try and apply very gently. There we go. Now, just use your finger or Q-tip and wipe over the surface. We're working into a recess. It's nice and easy to clean off any overspill. And there we go. Probably not showing up on camera real well. But I think it worked out pretty well. Now the seal is dry, so I'm just going to go back over, hit it again a little bit. Just clean up the edges. Oh, good. Now they're testing the emergency broadcast system again. I swear they test it literally every 2 weeks. And it drives Miller insane. So he's just going to have the most stressful day ever, as you can tell. This song is a tearjerker. This one, if you've never played Nier Automata, there are 3 voiceovers that you can choose. The game comes in dubs of Japanese, French, and English. And this song, Weight of the World, is one of the few songs in game that actually has, real language for its lyrics. But each version of it is different, and it's sung depending on which version it is from one of the main 3 characters. The English is sung from the perspective of 2B. The Japanese is sung from the perspective of 9S, and French from A2, I think. That's a minute. So where the Weight of the World English, sung by 2B, is about how she is struggling to be the savior and to protect everyone. This Japanese version, and trying not to spoil too much from the game, I believe the Japanese title of this, or subtitle, is A Song for a Dying World. And it's basically, 9S saying, I'm sorry I couldn't, protect this world. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you. And at one point in this song, the singer actually, like, her voice breaks because of how emotional she gets. And you can just feel the emotion in the song because of how well they perform it. I'm actually going to turn it up just a little bit. But if you're not afraid of spoilers for the game, I definitely recommend checking out the lyrics to this song and making yourself a little sad for a bit. Yep, intense stuff. Like I said earlier, you go into Nier Automata thinking you're going to get cool, attractive androids killing robots, and you walk out feeling depressed and existential. Because that's what Yoko Taro does to you. Thanks, Yoko Taro. I'm sad about it. Alright, right is your purity seal? Ah, right there. I was looking right at it. This guy doesn't have a purity seal or a helmet, which is strange. I don't think there's anywhere I can put red on him. So I think what we're gonna do then, just finish up the purity seal parchment and then call it a day. Oh, a bit of flat flesh color, which is a nice skin tone beige, which thinned and applied gently over the brown should make a good parchment. Apply that on pretty heavily. While we're at it, we might, well, set down a base layer of flat flesh on the faces of the sergeant and the firstborn. So they're gonna need flesh color eventually. That's another thing I forgot. So in total, there were 5 things I could have been working on right now. Thanks, Marlon. And like I said, I could be putting down a layer of white instead to make this skin process easier. But I actually want to see what effect I'll get if I thinly layer flesh tones on top of this metallic, because I think that might like give a slight metallic look to their skin, and that'd be kind of cool for Iron Warriors. Goodbye, Mysterious Blue. Thanks for stopping in. Hope you enjoyed what you saw. Alright, let's see how these purity seals are looking. Still drying on this one. One is ready. Get a little bit more. So I'm done painting these. I'm definitely gonna have to glue them down because, oh boy, do they readily like to lose their arms. Right, good. Guy's good. Alright, that I think we are all set for the day. So I'll be back on Monday. Don't know if I'll be doing crochet or finishing up these guys. It'll all depend on what priorities I have. But I appreciate all y'all hanging out with me on this wonderful Saturday morning. And I hope you'll come back and join me on this coming Monday. Let's see. Let's go ahead and raid Adam. Adam Savadan, also known as Seabat, since he's seemingly the only one streaming it right now. He's playing some World of Warcraft, interesting. But yeah, go out, enjoy the rest of your day, spread the love around, take care of yourself as well, and I will see y'all later.